Hi guys, this is the second video tutorial based on some elements on this lovely card I've made here. The first one was on how to make this little ribbon flower at the top. This video is going to focus now on how to make this little ribbon trim down the bottom. Now I'll zoom in on it so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this little trim down the bottom here is just some cardstock with ribbon that's been threaded with some additional contrasting cardstock there to make a little neat border. Okay, so how do we make this one? All you have to do is, I've got a piece of cardstock here that was cut to 1 3/16 in width, 1 inch and 3/16. Then I used my scallop border punch, a bit of leftover cardstock there, to do a border on one side, move it around, match your scallops up and do a border on the other. Then take the trusty crocodile and using the 3/16 hole, which is the larger of the two holes on the crocodile, lining that up in the middle of each scallop and going along, helps if it's in video, and punching out some little holes all the way along the centre of your border, so you end up with a whole full border with holes in the middle. Then you get yourself a piece of ribbon. This is the 1/4 inch grosgrain ribbon. Cut it generously so you've got almost about 1.5 times what you'll need for your finished border that you're creating. The other thing you'll need to make your border is a contrasting piece of cardstock. For the card that I've made there, this is some natural ivory. And essentially you just want to cut yourself a whole bunch of strips of cardstock, roughly 3/16, but you know, some small, some big, it'll all work the same. As you can see, it's not rocket science, guys, just chopping up a whole bunch of pieces. Okay, so once you've done that, the last thing you'll need is a pair of fine pointed tweezers, and I'll show you how to put this one together. Okay, let's zoom in so it's easier to see. Essentially, put your ribbon down on your tabletop. Take your cardstock that's been scalloped and punched out, lay it over the top of your ribbon, take your tweezers and just gently pull through that first hole a little loop of ribbon, like that. So you've got a ribbon bit of loop sticking through, sort of, can you see that on the side there? Now through this hole that you've made here on the side, you take one of these lovely pieces of cardstock that you've cut into a little strip. I'll use my tweezers so my big fat fingers will be out of the way. Feed it through the loop, like so. I'm trying to watch that I'm doing it in the video as I do it, guys. Okay, so feed it through there. Pull your ribbon. Now, as you do it, just make sure that your piece of cardstock lays flat. Pull your ribbon like that. Turn your cardstock over. Hold your ribbon end down, but hold either side of the little piece that you've added and give it a little pull, and when you do, you'll feel it sort of pop, and that little piece of natural ivory cardstock will actually pop out, and see how it's now protruding above the piece of real red there. I don't know if you can really see that very well on the camera. Okay, but for this first piece, you don't need to do the subsequent pieces, but just to keep your trim in the right place, get yourself a little tiny bit of sticky strip and put it right at the start of your piece of ribbon, just to hold that ribbon in place so that you're not pulling undone anything that you've already started to do. And just secure it. Now the next subsequent pieces of cardstock you don't need to glue or do anything with. All right. So move to the next hole. Get your ribbon. Pull it through like that. So you got a loop, piece of cardstock. Thread it through. Turn it over so it sort of lays half flat. Start to pull your ribbon back through, and before you pop it all the way through, flip it over, stick it on the bench top, 2 fingers either side, and give it a pull, and it'll pop up, and the little piece of natural ivory will pop up. And just continue along, guys, until you've done every single hole. Now there are lots of other tricks you can do with this similar sort of technique, but with using the cardstock just as holders and pulling it out at the end and making loops instead of these pull bits. I can probably make another video to show you all the other different variations of this one. Now see this one, the cardstock almost pulled all the way through. Get your tweezers and pull it out like that. It's probably pulled through too far. Give it a pull so that it sits exactly how you want it, and I'm happier with that. Now if you want to have a bit more zhuzh in your ribbons as you go along, you can just use your tweezers and you can make that fluffy and puffy if that's what you want as you go along. Just make sure you work with your ribbon as you put your pieces in, because it'll get too hard as you go along. So that's all it is, guys, and when you get to the other end, secure the other piece under with a piece of sticky strip to keep it in place. And once you are done, you end up with a neat little scallop border that's something a little bit different. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and like I said, I might come back and show you a few different ways to play with these types of borders. Alright, thanks, bye!